Hi, Helen.
Hi.
And hello to everyone watching. My name is Sabrina Myers. I'm from Hot Hospitality Exchange, and welcome to another episode of Eventprofs Together at Home. Today, I have the lovely Helen as my guest that I'm going to be having a chat with. Very excited to have you here on the video podcast series. I'm a big fan of Helen and everything that she does for her work. I think it's incredible. I follow her on social media religiously. She's an inspirational lady, and I'm super excited to have her on the chat today. And I'm going to hand it over to her so that she can tell you a little bit about who she is, what she does, where she is at the moment, where she's based, and what the situation is for her. So over to you, Helen.
Okay, thanks, Sabrina. Super humble, by the way. Super humble. That's a bit of an amazing intro. Thank you very much. My name is Helen. It's really nice to be here and to be invited to come in and talk to you guys. I'm CEO and founder of Eventwell Limited. Eventwell Limited is a social enterprise, charitable social enterprise that was set up in 2017 to educate and campaign for better mental health and wellbeing in the events industry. And so we're also founders and leaders of Event Wellbeing Week, which is in its fourth year this year. We've introduced Event Wellbeing Day to a little family of campaigns. So every year now will be Event Wellbeing Day in February and Event Wellbeing Week in September. Although this year there will be a slight change to that, with news coming soon on that, so watch this space. So we educate and campaign for better mental health and the well-being. You can probably imagine that it's an incredibly busy time for Eventwell at the moment, with everything that we're experiencing, everything that we're going through. We're kind of in this together as an industry, and never has there been a time, I think, where mental health and well-being and taking care of ourselves and making sure that we have our resilience has been ever so important than it is now, which in a funny kind of way is a good thing for mental health and well-being. So I kind of hope that when we bounce back as an industry, we all stick with this or stick with these new things that we're learning about ourselves and our health. Pretty much in a nutshell, that's
and
me.
Where are you at the moment? Are you in London?
I'm in London. Yes. I also have bipolar disorder, which I've had since I was 16. So hence my kind of move into the mental health and well-being space of events, because I know personally firsthand how difficult it can be to manage a career in events, but also manage a chronic mental health condition, I suppose. Yes.
And so you are at home with your little family.
Yep.
I take it that you are moving around and you don't have a dedicated sort of working space, or like how is it working right now? How have you set yourself up?
Yeah, so the little Moon family are all in the house together. So Mr. Moon is also working from home. We have a little one, she's only 3, so it's Mini Moon. She's with us as well because obviously she can't go to nursery, so we're all in the house. We had to go through 2 weeks of self-isolating because I had C19 symptoms, so we couldn't leave that. So that was quite difficult. So I think we're now in week 5 of actually being locked down, because we were locked down in the house before the official UK lockdown came. So our house is a kind of open plan living room. You can kind of see the living room space behind me. Ignore the mess. Children's toys, if you can see it. So we have a kind of open living room, dining room space. So I'm sat at the dining room table, which is set up with 2 big computer screens and laptops and all of that. Really, my husband works on one screen and I work on the other kind of stuff. So we're kind of back to back. So our dining table is turned into a workstation, kind of permanent workstation.
So what are your 3 daily essentials right now, you would say, being in this situation, in the lockdown situation?
3 daily essentials. I think the first one is making sure that you separate your work from that free time that you have. And there you go.
Hello.
They're here. They've just walked down. Separating that free time from that work time that you have. So making sure that when you're working, get yourself dressed as you would do normally, and try and make yourself look smart and presentable. When you're working, make sure you're attached to a screen with a keyboard, mouse, all of that kind of thing. When you're not working, maybe just use an iPad or a phone. It's creating those boundaries, I think, which are really, really important at the moment, particularly when you absolutely 100% bring your work into your home. Which for people who are used to working from home, it's very easy for us to be able to set up those clear distinctions. We know how to do that. We've trained ourselves in terms of how to do that. But I think people who are not used to working from home will find that transition to the new norm probably a little bit challenging. So those little things, such as get yourself dressed, get some nice clothes on like you would do if you were going to the office. You know, start your day with a little ritual, such as whether it's a cup of tea, or making sure you've got something to eat, you've had your breakfast before you start work, and making sure you take plenty of breaks and stuff as well. So you're getting up every hour, moving around, because it can be really easy when you work from home, more so than you work in an office, for you to just sit all day and just work. So it's having those little habits and rituals that send those little messages to your subconscious and your brain that you've got. It's free time now. It's relaxing time. You've done your work. So this is a thing with well-being. This is a thing with well-being and stress management and all this stuff about building resilience. It's very personal. It's very individual, because we're not machines. We're not robots. We're human beings, and we're all individual people with personalities and interests and values and all of kind of things. So you've got to find the thing that works for you.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and I think it's important that people do find that, you know, what works for them and stick to it.
Yes.
Sticking to it is important.
Yeah.
So have you come to any realizations about yourself being in this situation, in the lockdown situation? Any habits that have become more pronounced, or perhaps something new you've realized?
Probably that I eat too many biscuits, cakes. But then I do say to myself, I don't drink caffeine, I don't smoke or anything like that anymore. So sugar is my only vice. Don't take it away from me.
Good advice.
Probably cut it down. I'm probably not drinking enough water that I should be doing. I could do with having some more fruit and veg. So it's very much, you're much more aware of things like that than you would be if you go into an office and stuff. You don't really have that sense of awareness too much in terms of what the stuff that you're putting into your body.
What are you doing for wellness from a mental and physical perspective?
Very much keeping a check of my self-awareness. So noticing more my moods, because obviously I have bipolar, so I do need to keep a check on my mood. And there's certain behavioural aspects. So if I wake up and I feel a bit irritable, or I'm a little bit narky, and my tolerance levels are a little bit lower, then that can be a sign to me that I could be going a little bit manic and I need to take a break. I need to take a step back. And that's one of the, obviously being aware that what an awful lot of us in the industry are experiencing at the moment is trauma. So we're being forced to work in ways that we've a lot of us haven't worked before. I mentioned that before about the working from home. We're being forced to work with our colleagues in ways that we probably haven't done before. We're just not used to. We're being forced to live in ways that are very, very detrimental to our mental health and well-being. You know, we're social beings. We're not supposed to be locked down individually in houses away from each other. We're supposed to be socially interacting, connecting and talking to each other, and all of that. The fact that you can't hug your family and stuff, you know, we're all in very, very difficult situations at the moment. So self-awareness, particularly, not just for anyone, you know, that has a mental health condition, because you know, talking about mental health and self-care and well-being is not just reserved for people like me with a mental health condition. We all have mental health, and we all need to be looking after our mental health on an equal par, if not more than our physical health in a way, because we need to be looking after our minds, and we need to be looking after our brains and stuff, because the brain is the mothership, you know, it controls everything that we do, and we need to be taking better care of ourselves. So self-awareness for me is really important. So it's noticing those moods. So I have my copy of the Event Professionals Journal. So do check that out. It's a fabulous tool. So every day I make sure that I spend that time to notice my mood and how I'm feeling. And that also promotes me to think about, dependent on my mood, what can I be doing for myself today? So if I'm feeling a bit knocked or a little bit moody, or my bipolar's wobbling a little bit, then maybe that's a sign for me that really I need to take a rest, and maybe I need to just do something for myself today. I use journaling. I write down thoughts. I have an awareness of how my mood is fluctuating and moving, and I know, because I work in a wellbeing space, I know, but not just because I work in a space, because I've been taught this stuff because I've had bipolar for a very long time. And so I know what I need to do based on that self-awareness. And really that is the key to self-care and well-being. It's having that self-awareness and knowing what you need to do personally and the things that are going to help you.
You know what I really liked about what you just said, that one sentence, is we all have mental health. It's not that some people have it and some people don't. It's like your own health. It's your mental and your physical health. It falls under the same thing, and we all have to acknowledge that we all have it, whether it's in a good place or it's not at a good place. But it's something that we're born with. That is what we have, and that we have to learn how to manage it. And a lot of people think, well, no, I don't have any mental health issues.
Yeah.
But you have mental health, so.
Yeah, there's people who turn and say, I don't get stressed. I don't need to do anything about my mental health. I don't get stressed. It doesn't happen to me. I don't get depressed. Why do I need to know about wellbeing stuff? We all need to know about wellbeing stuff. We've all got mental health. Mental health is not necessarily stress and mental illness. Mental health is prevalent at all times. It's permanently there. It doesn't go away.
Obviously, right now in these last few weeks, we've pretty much spent a lot of our time online consuming content. It's how we're communicating with people. It's how we're entertaining ourselves. Give us some recommendations of perhaps what you've been watching or doing or reading that has brought you some positivity and entertainment and happiness in the last few weeks.
Yes. So to keep me nice and well and balanced and stuff, I actually limit the amount of stuff that I view and read and allow my brain to absorb, if that makes sense. So I watch the news as little as possible. And it's also, again, it's that self-awareness. So I tend to find that if I'm watching the news and I start shouting at the TV, it's time to switch it off. Exactly. Switch the TV off, Helen. Move away from the set. Move away. Put the remote down. So I limit my access to media, if that makes sense. And I also do that from a social media perspective. And I've always done that from a social media perspective. So personally, I'm not really a follower of social media. I decided to come off probably about 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Decided to come off Facebook from a personal perspective. So I only post on Facebook now from a business, professional perspective now. Same as with Twitter. I only have a professional profile on Twitter now. I don't have a social one. Pretty good at knowing when I'm getting a little bit that negativity. I'm getting a little bit too much of that negativity, and what I need to do. It's just having those clear distinctions and boundaries again, all those boundaries that are really important to mental health. I know what frustrates and winds me up. So I know that I need to avoid those things that frustrate me and wind me up, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I think that's your way that you practice digital detox.
With social media, it can be tricky. And the reason it's tricky with social media is that actually when you're on social media and you're getting those likes and those retweets and stuff, it actually releases a neurohormone in the brain, dopamine. And dopamine is a pleasure hormone. It's what we associate with pleasure. So serotonin is our happy hormone. Dopamine is our pleasure hormone. And dopamine is linked to addictions such as alcohol, to drugs and narcotics, smoking, any kind of addictions like that. It's heavily addicted to it. And that's because when you get dopamine hits, your brain creates more neurons in the brain to create more of a pleasure hit for the next time, particularly of people who would have addictive tendencies. And some people have more addictive tendencies than other people. Remember that we're all different. So this isn't the case with everybody. So when you create more neurons, you need a bigger hit each time. And that's where the addiction behavior of needing more and more and more of your hit, whatever that hit might be, increases the more of doing it. So social media, they're actually, from that dopamine release, they're actually now, there's scientific research that shows that the dopamine effect from social media is higher even than alcohol or drugs and narcotics.
Wow.
Now, for something to be higher than something like drugs and narcotics, you're talking about a very, very serious drug addiction. So for a lot of people, actually for them to stop that social media need to check, I put a post up half an hour ago, how many likes have I got already? It's actually very difficult for some people because it's an addiction. So it's very easy for people who haven't got that tendency to live on their phones to say, just put the phone down, the phone down and stop looking at it. It's effectively like turning around to an alcoholic and saying stop drinking, or to a drug addict and saying stop taking drugs.
They do on a day-to-day, which is interesting. I've never thought about it that way, but that makes
so the best way to kind of help in terms of that is just to kind of cut that down and kind of try to kind of cut down the level and trying to limit each day. Kind of, you're gonna limit yourself to an hour on social media, for example, and your phone will tell you now in terms of it will send you screen reports and stuff in terms of how much. And if you've got an Apple device, it's quite good for it. I'm not quite sure what it is on an Android, but an Apple will send you that report. So you could just, from a digi detox, just try and see if you can cut that down each week, if you can lower those amounts and just cut it down slowly. Everything we're making any kind of change to your well-being, your self-care or your lifestyle or life skills, anything like that, is all about making those small incremental changes that are achievable, because you want to achieve it when you want to make changes to your life and lifestyle. When you make any changes to your lifestyle, it's for life. There's no quick fixes to any of this. It needs to be well thought out and planned, and you need to give yourself that time to make the change. So it can be, stuff like that. It can be a struggle for some people, and we fully appreciate that.
Onto something a little bit lighter.
Let's move away from addiction, Helen.
Let's. When all of this is actually over, fingers crossed, and we can leave our houses and everything is open again, where is the first place that you would like to go?
With a little girl, just take her somewhere. And I haven't thought about this properly, to be honest. I don't know. Go and run naked in a park. I don't know. Go and skinny dip on Brighton Beach. I think I'm already excited about the prospect. Well, we can leave the house. So many things. Which one first? So maybe I need to start a little bucket list. Leave the house bucket list. That's what perhaps we should all. That's a tip for everybody. To find a little bit of positivity. Make a list of 10 things that you're going to do as soon as we're out of this, that you've always wanted to do, and you know what, you're going to do it because you've been locked in your house for months and you've not been able to do anything. Just appreciate the beauty of being outside and being able to see my friends again, and just appreciate those hours you get when you're having a cup of tea with a friend, and really listen to them when they're talking to you. Stop being so distracted by other things. Perhaps this is where mindfulness comes in, that just appreciate life a little bit more. I think this is the biggest lesson it's teaching all of us, to just be a little bit more appreciative of what we've got. It's almost like, in a way, it's teaching us to be human beings again. I joked about this at the start. I kind of said it's almost like it's Mother Nature's way in a bit, going, you lot have been very naughty, now you've got to go to your room. And now we've been locked in our houses now. It's like that. Mother Nature's like that. No, still grounded. I'll let you know when you can come out. So it's
And did you have any holidays planned? So if you were to be able to go on a plane again, where would you want to go?
We did. We had a holiday planned in Mallorca at the end of March, which I was sick with C-19 symptoms anyway, so we couldn't have gone on it. And then I think that was just before the actual official. No, it wasn't. It was just when they'd done the official lockdown. But we cancelled that anyway before they locked us down in our houses. We've got a holiday planned in Italy, in the lakes in Italy in June, camping. again, the same as the fact that it's very exciting, the prospect of if the holiday still happens, because obviously it's in Italy, so we don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
But just the prospect of being outside in the fresh air, in the outdoors,
Yeah.
loving nature and all the joys that for people that love camping holidays.
So like last question is,
Yeah.
Any words of advice for all of us event profs that are in this situation together right now?
Biggest word of advice, it covers an awful lot of what I've been saying. Look for the positive. If you're struggling, that's okay. It's all right to feel sad, angry, frustrated, down, not in control of your emotions a little bit. All of that is all right, because we're all in a very, very unique, bizarre, surreal, weird situation at the moment that as human beings, again, I touched on it, as human beings, we're not designed to be locked down like this and not integrating and connecting and moving around with each other and working in our teams and being able to see our family and friends and stuff. So if you're feeling down, then accept that that's all right. If you're feeling down for longer periods of time, then make sure you ask for help. Make sure that you pick up the Eventwell has a support line. We've got event professionals trained in mental health first aid. So if you work in the events industry and you're in that situation, you're in that position, it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to not be okay and not ask for help. Ask for help, please. But try and see some positives. Try and plan some joy from when we get out of this. It's a brilliant Michelle Obama quote that she did a speech recently, and it's all linked to her, obviously her book that's out, and she did a speech and she was saying how we're great at planning our professional journeys and our jobs and planning our work and how we work. She says where we fall down is planning our joy. So we should be planning our joy to the same extent that we're planning everything else in our lives. So bring it back to that bucket list I said. What 10 things are immediately at the top of your list that you're going to do when we get to the other side of this. And just plan that joy. That's really important, and try and see a positive, because there is a silver lining in everything happens for a reason. And when you can change that mindset from a mindful perspective and try and only think about the here and now, the situation that we're in now, and how you can manage this situation now. There's no point dwelling on the past. It's happened, it's been, it's gone, you can't change it. The future, you can have an awareness of the future and what it might look like, but try not to stress about it too much, because again, you have no control over it. The future hasn't happened yet. It will pan out exactly as it wants to, and the only thing that you can control is the here and now, and the only thing that you can control is yourself. So management of yourself, management of the situation that you're in.
That is good advice. Amazing. Thank you so much, Helen. Thank you so much for being my guest today. That was a really fantastic conversation. And I think a lot of people watching are going to find so much of what you said helpful and relevant and insightful. And I am grateful that you gave me some of your time. Thank you for watching. Thank you everyone for watching another episode of Eventprofs together at home. I'm Sabrina Myers from Hot Hospitality Exchange. Lots more to come. We've got some amazing event profs all around the world that are sharing some amazing insights, advice, and bringing joy, well, particularly to me as well, whenever I do it. And so stay tuned, keep watching, keep positive, stay motivated, and as Helen said, stay in check of yourself, and we'll all get through it together. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Helen, and take care.
Thank you.